I'm Sucheta Dalal. I'm a founder trustee of Moneylife Foundation, and this is yet another unique seminar that we have organized. It is on food adulteration. Dr. Shenoy is a PhD in biochemistry from UDCT after an MSc in organic chemistry. Like I said, he's got 42 years experience, which cuts across analysis, R&D, marketing of foods, organic and inorganic. And this is all in various disciplines like organic and inorganic chemicals, plastics, rubber, paper, textiles, waxes, leather, pharmaceuticals, etc.
Food adulteration. Now, the definition of food adulteration is what is given there. Adulteration of food is defined as the addition or subtraction of substance to or from food so that the natural composition and quality of the food substance is affected. It is difficult for the consumer to detect the extent of adulteration. This is normally the case because we buy something, you can't find out whether it is adulterated or not. But as you can see, adulteration is of three kinds: intentional, unintentional, and natural. Intentional adulteration is the act of adding, removing substances to food or altering the existing natural properties of food knowingly. That means it is intentional that I want to make money out of it, so I will add something and make money, give you substantial goods. Actually, it is economic loss also to a consumer when you buy the adulterated food, apart from health getting spoiled or something like that. Now, Government of India records that about 25 to 30% edibles sold in the market are adulterated. Now, this is what the government knows about it. This is something very funny that the government knows and goes on. Some examples of intentional adulteration are normal. You see that daily. You see, in fact, on the 1st of June when I visited the FDA office for a different thing about the arcade. The FDA office, when I went, the same day they had about 450 liters of adulterated meat being caught. You know, they caught some people in Malad and Goregaon and all that, and then it came as a big news in paper. A lot of individuals are late, they slept in the night and waited for it to come in the morning and all that. So when I went there, I said, see, this is something very funny because Mumbai consumes almost 60 lakh liters per day. Now just 450 liters per day, first day, and then there is no thing, because they said that from whole of June, we are going to have a program of all this, how to detect adulteration and catch adulterants and all that, and those adulterators will catch, and then Mumbai will be free of adulterated meat. But this is not something which they did anything later than 1st of June. So this is something which is a very, very grave thing, because today the adulterated milk is only adding water. That is the cheapest business. Now you can see on television saying that gutter ka pani bhi dal ke banta and all that, which is ridiculous. Gutter ka pani, you can never see the water coming in from gutter. So, or removing solids from natural product, that is the milk or such. In fact, you can also add lactose to it and sell. The other form is unintentional adulteration, which is usually attributed to ignorance, carelessness or lack of facilities for maintaining food quality. This kind of adulteration results from pesticide and insect residues and microorganisms entering the food right from the farm through stages leading to customer. Now this is something which you always see, that the type of food that we find on the shops next to the roadside, a lot of dust goes in, a lot of rubbish also goes in, and suddenly there is a rain, so you will always have some thing getting, the grains getting wet, and then you have infestation of the microbes and things like that. Natural adulteration occurs in the presence of certain chemicals, compounds, organic compounds or radicals naturally occurring in foods which are injurious to health and not added to foods intentionally or unintentionally. Some of the examples are toxic varieties of pulses. Now, kesari dal is the classic example here. Mushrooms, green and other vegetables, fish and seafoods. About 5,000 species of marine fish are known to be poisonous, and many of these are among edible varieties. Now, hazards of adulteration. Adulteration of food causes several different problems in humans. Some of them is Some of them are like stomach ache, body ache, anemia, abortion, paralysis, increasing incidence of tumors, pathological lesions on vital organs, abnormalities of skin and eyes. Hence, food adulteration be given great importance due to its effect on health significance on the body. Now we'll see the adulterants here. Now the different adulterants. Now argemone seeds are actually, I was told that when the mustard is grown, argemone also grows, if it is not properly controlled or if it is not taken care of along with it. But it's a very rare phenomenon because most of the mustard is in Punjab and Haryana, those northern areas, where argemone seeds normally do not come, but in case they come, they cause you these type of problems. Now argemone oil is a very rare thing today, nobody adds it to edible oils and fat. But if it is there, then it causes glaucoma and cardiac. The foreign leaves or exhausted tea leaves, sawdust, artificially colored. This is added to tea. Now you also have color added to tea, which is the tea dust, and such type of tea is available in South, which is normally called as kesari tea. The kesari color it gives after adding to the water, and it quickly gives you color in cold water also, because normally good quality tea doesn't give any color to cold water. It has to be boiled to give you this. In fact, tea is the largest adulterated thing. The report from Upasi Tea Research Center in South, which controls the tea board, like, so they say about 20 million kgs of such color added tea was sold in South in about 4 years back. So today it must be more also. But these teas are available in Belgium, in Mumbai, certain pockets in Bhiwandi area, and then maybe I have not seen in these areas. But certainly in Bangalore and Belgium, where I had the opportunity of buying these, I have seen that it is sold in large quantities because people want color to the tea. Now tricryl phosphate is something which gives you pungency, but it's a dangerous chemical. In fact, I think the Kohinoor mill tragedy that occurred, the Kohinoor mill compound or some local chawl near the Kohinoor mill, that I about 18 or 19 years back, this oil was adulterated with tricryl phosphate, which so many people got affected, and that later on I think it is not been seen. Now rancid oil is something which is a phenomenon of oil. If it is not stored properly, moisture creeps in, and normally what happens is once the moisture creeps in, it slowly hydrolyzes, giving you fatty acid, and that fatty acid slowly gives you the rancidity to the oil, which actually you may smell the oil also, you may not like to even use it. So but this is available, normally used for soaps and all that, but they can always mix it and give it to you. If you buy open, that is unbranded oils or loose oils. Now sand, marble, chips, stone, filth is added, food grains. Stones, I don't know so much care is taken or not, but this is now something which is not very much prevalent at this moment of time. The Letharus sativus is the kesari dal. Kesari dal is mainly grown in Madhya Pradesh. Now this is actually a very cheap dal which is used by locals there, and there is a technique here to use this kesari dal. There is a sort of a thing that you take the dal, boil it for some time, and then remove the upper liquid that comes out, and then use it, so that the entire the dangerous material that is available, it goes away, and then you don't have this sprinkling of letharism, there is sprinkling spastics, paraplegia, it is not there. In fact, this is mixed with so many different type of dals, like even tur dal, chana dal and all that. So this is something which is prevalent in certain parts of India even today. Now mineral oil or white oil or petroleum oil is normally added to edible oils and fats. Today you find that mineral oil is costlier than vegetable oil. It is now 60-65 rupees a kilo. Palm oil is about 42 rupees a kilo. So the significance of adding any such thing now in oil has lost. Once upon a time it was a very cheap type of material, so we could add into business. But coconut oil is one such area where such type of things are added. Mineral oil depends, let's say, if it is a proper mineral oil, then you will have not have problems. But most of the oils which they add is LLP, light liquid paraffin, which is available commercially, used in hair oils. Now most of the things are like hair oils, hair oil manufacturers or something like that, mineral oil is added. Now this mineral oil is gives rise to some sort of very funny feelings in the stomach, and if it is not properly, see, if it is USP grade mineral oil, like say Vaseline, I am not propagating the branding here, but this is something USP. Now it contains a sulfur containing product. It has to be treated by sulfuric acid, and the sulfur containing product goes away from mineral oil, and that becomes a purified oil. And that purified oil is also useful for skin and other type of things, but it will not give you cancer. The only danger about mineral oil you getting cancer is because of the impurities in the oil, which are detrimental, like the sulfur containing product which are there normally. Now lead chromate is something which once upon a time, even today if you see FSSAI for specification for turmeric, lead chromate test should be negative. Lead chromate is a yellow colored pigment which is made from lead and chromic acid. So lead carbonate, lead chromic acid, you lead chromate. Now this is exactly looking like turmeric. But today I suppose this chromate must be same price as turmeric, so there is no significance I see. But still, right from those Britishers days, like in 1937 when the first ACMA specification came in, lead chromate was really written there. So we will still continue to take it. But I don't think anybody adds lead chromate today. But all the same, if it is there, then all these other problems, paralysis, anemia, abortion, brain damage and things like that will be there. Now methanol is something which is in alcoholic liquors, which is there. Any such brand if you talk about, it contains a very small quantity in the finest liquors also, because the whole process of fermentation, you generate some small quantity of methanol. Now it has to be stripped properly by proper fractional distillation. If it is not done, like say normally you have the very cheap variety of liquor, like say some of the naringis and this and that and I think. See, this gives the kick also. So that is again another factor where I want something nice to happen, those who drink. So methanol will be there in alcohol, but if it is there beyond a certain limit, then you might either you die or you may lose your eyesight or any such thing can happen. It's a deadly poison. Now arsenic is because of lead arsenate. Once upon a time lead arsenate was used for apple farming as a insecticide, pesticide. But today they don't use arsenic. But arsenic can come in from those endemic areas where water contains arsenic. It can be there, the arsenic, because most of the areas, some of the areas in western, northwestern Bihar and Bengal, there are endemic areas where arsenic is there in water, and that causes sort of a problem. Now barium comes from barium carbonate, which is used as a rodenticide. It's an excellent rodenticide, has to be used with care. Those who know how to use it, they will only use it. But it is likely that it can get into food if it is done in a place like say food go down. It is not to be done for food. It's good to be done in a maybe say your farm somewhere in a garden or something like that, where you find out in a building place where you have a lot of rodents coming in. There you can use it. Most of the time, this barium poisonous poison, like the barium carbonate that comes, you cannot put it in godowns. In godowns, they normally prefer using aluminum phosphate or zinc phosphate, because this releases phosphine, because rats will gnaw that thing and eat it up. The moment you eat, rat will become thirsty. And the moment the rat becomes thirsty, it will take in water, because it is required by him. It is required by the rat. And rat, when it takes in water, the what do you call that, aluminum phosphate or zinc phosphate which is consumed slowly release phosphine. Now you have some case somewhere in the Andheri side that the two husband and wife or girl and boy died in a premises and where aluminum phosphate was detected or something like that. So that's a sort of a thing which is, I don't know, nobody uses for household pesticide, or others will never use it, this particular material, because it is not required for homes. How does it come, there is another thing, but for all practical purposes to be used in godowns, food godowns, this is the material to be used, aluminum phosphate or zinc phosphate. But barium is normally used only in those open areas where food normally doesn't come into contact. But yes, by mistake somebody does some adventurous thing by adding barium carbonate for some application where he doesn't want rats to come, it can come. So it gives you, in fact you can die. This is a very deadly poison. That is why you may be knowing that for taking x-rays of stomach you require barium meal is given. The barium meal is nothing but barium sulfate. The barium sulfate is prepared from barium carbonate by adding sulfuric acid. And the process is so very typical that it has to be very properly done. There is only one party in New Bombay who is doing it and is exporting it to Merck, Germany also. But his process is very laborious. In a day he must be manufacturing something like 500 kg or something like that. But this is the way you can take out. So it has to be free from chlorine, it has to be free from barium and carbonates and all that. So totally free from this, then only it can happen. So barium carbonate is a very dangerous chemical and not really required. Now cadmium comes into fruit juices, soft drinks, etc. in cadmium plated vessels or equipment. Now cadmium plating is normally, what happens here is that if you, once upon a time we all used to use brass utensils and copper utensils. Now in normal parlance, brass and copper for our daily use without tinning, and the kalai wala is to come and do the kalai business on that. So that kalai contains either, because kalai is today is very costly material. It's about 280 rupees or 90 rupees a kilo. Cadmium will be almost half the price or less than half the price. So that's the material which is added. And then if the plating is done, it is hand plating. I would say that what they normally do is they have this ammonium chloride added and then they coat the thing with the tin. So tinning process is that, and that tin can contain cadmium. Otherwise nobody does cadmium plating in food vessels. So this will give you the itching disease, increased salivation, acute gastritis, liver and kidney damage, prostate cancer, etc. Now cobalt will come from water source only, if at all it comes. Lead is from natural processed food, it will come from water because most of the piping is done. Once upon a time the piping for taking a short route to such type of thing was lead used to be used. The lead can come in from there and that is where the lead poison will be there. Copper again is the vessel that you use. Like say you have certain places you find biryani being made in a huge copper pot which is totally outside and inside coated by tinning. But if there is a sort of a gash or something like that and there is some puncture in the coating, then you can see that copper will come into food. But in fact small quantities of copper is used in water treatment. In like say villages you find the wells you put more tooth, that is copper sulfate. And that is where the algae and other things are kept at bay. So copper up to a limit, yes, but most of the time it is not preferred because food also gets spoiled because of copper. So you will have vomiting and diarrhea coming in. Now tin is again not desirable if it is there in a larger quantity. Zinc, again same thing. Zinc is in fact a nutrient, but a nutrient can be a problematic thing when it is in little more quantity. Now mercury is something which many people treat, you have mercury tablets available for keeping the grain safe for a very long time, means maybe 6 months, 8 months, when people buy large quantities, they put it in the drum and they powder their body or something like that, that is available, that is good. So that is possible that if you don't wash the grains properly, it comes. And another area where mercury once upon a time, like for example in Mahul, you had once upon a time a company called as Calico Chemicals and Plastics. So they had this sodium hydroxide plant, which was mercury contact process. It's an amalgam formation, and then amalgam leaves that goes into sodium hydroxide, and that mercury used to go out into the sea there, the Mahul Sea, and the entire area used to have contaminated fish and the mercury contaminated fish. So today the processes have changed. There is no longer is mercury in manufacture of sodium hydroxide. But it does give you, in case mercury comes into picture, brain damage, paralysis, death, etc. Now you have bacterial contamination. Cereal products, custards, pudding, sauces, Bacillus cereus is organism which gives you nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, etc. Salmonella is something which normally is associated with meat products and fish type of things. And most of the non-veg area you have salmonella, that is your typical salmonella is Salmonella typhi, or this is actually a salmonella species, any species. You have salmonellosis, that is food infection usually with fever and chills. Then Shigella sonnei is with milk, potato, beans, poultry, tuna, shrimp, moist meat food. You get bacterial dysentery. Staphylococcus aureus is something which we are always going to have on our body, which comes as a part of skin shedding and things like that. It is always with us on the body and all that. So this also, then enterotoxins A, B, C, D or E is with dairy products, baked foods, especially custard or cream-filled foods, meat and meat products. So this will give you increased salivation, vomiting, abdominal cramp, diarrhea, severe thirst, cold, sweat, prostration. Now this is Clostridium botulinus toxin. Now this is something which is very important, because this normally comes in canned thing. If it is not properly canned, the canning process, if it is not proper, then this particular thing develops toxin, and that toxin can give you a very severe sort of problem to your health, in the sense you can die in 3 days time. These are initial things. You have double vision, muscular paralysis, death due to respiratory failure. This takes about 3 days to happen, and there is no cure. You just cannot save somebody. So it has to be extremely careful when you buy something which is canned. Like for example, your Tetra Pak, they write on that if it is puffed, don't use it. And if you use it, then probably this is because of Clostridium botulinus. So you have to be extremely careful. Even if you store these things and over a period of time it gets popped up or it gets swollen up, don't touch it. Don't even bother to use it even after heating it, because the toxins will remain and they are very dangerous. Clostridium perfringens is, if it is milk is not properly processed or canned meats, fish and gravy stocks, you have abdominal pain, diarrhea, gas formation, etc. Now fungal contamination. Now this is something very important. Let's say first is the aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is normally with groundnuts, any material containing oil. For example, oil seeds. Then you have the remnant of, after removing oil, because the oil cake is used for poultry. Oil cake is used for milching cows and all that. Now this is where the aflatoxin enters our system via milk. And this is one of those things which is never pointed out by anybody, nor even by, in fact FDA doesn't have the facility to test aflatoxin in milk. It's a 20 lakh machine you require to test aflatoxin in milk. Milk is something which aflatoxin levels, aflatoxin M1 in milk is 0.5 ppb. That is, if 100 crore population, that 1.5, like it's like something on those lines. 0.05 ppb is what is required to be their permitted limits. Now this will come because in fact most of the milk is more than that in India. But this is what I have done the study and I have seen you believe it. And actually this is something which is a tragic thing for us. But nobody bothers. Nobody, it doesn't get highlighted anywhere. Even Sunita Narayan is not worried about it, and I told her that why don't you take up this issue. But she is not interested in such thing because it's a dairy business, cooperative business. So this aflatoxin in milk is a major problem. Any milk, except maybe some of those Tetra Pak milks, because they take extremely good care of the milk availability. Now you have certain dairies now coming up, already come up some of those places, like one is Manchir. They claim that they have Holstein cows and they give you milk and all that, automatic machines, good food, good feed rather. So to get away with that, this particular thing, but most of the milk that is available to you today is from small time farmers. Those who have 1 cow or 1.5 or 2.5 cows, like that. So from that angle, the type of feed, and another thing is that you have secondary income for the farm walas, you know, like the Shetkaris, they have the farm walas have, apart from farm, they have some cows as a secondary activity. So what happens is, if I have a peanut farm, what I'll do is I get the peanut, sell it in the market, then the leaves I keep for feeding. The leaves are kept in a very bad condition, they become black, they infested with aflatoxin, but they still give it. And then this aflatoxin also is bad for the cow because it can also lead to abortion in cows. But this particular aflatoxin is so severe that it goes into the milk, and the cow expresses it as aflatoxin N1. Now this is something which is not really desirable because it gives you liver cancer and things like that. Now ergot alkaloids, that is claviceps purpurea, toxic alkaloids, ergotamine, ergotoxin, they get it's like bajra, it is major in bajra, rye or meal bread. So, it is normally with bajra that you see ergotism. Toxins from Fusarium porochitaisis. This is for grains. You have elementary toxic epidemic, elementary toxic eleutheria. Toxins from Fusarium, again same moist grains. You have Urau disease. These are toxins which is now not so much prevalent in India, but from other countries that you have this type of thing. And the food grains, if you are not stored properly, you have this particular Aspergillus versicolor, again same Aspergillus flowers, the aflatoxin type means same species. You get hepatitis, again liver diseases. Now here natural contamination, let's say it comes from fluoride. Fluoride is one such thing which comes in drinking water. The drinking water in many areas in Andhra Pradesh, you have fluoride contamination in water, so you get fluorosis. So excess fluorosis, that is mottling of teeth, skeletal, that the whole body becomes very typical because this fluoride attacks the bones. Gossypol is something which is associated with cottonseed only. It is a phenolic poison which has to be removed by alkali treatment, and then only the cake is suitable for giving it to animals. Then cyanogenic compounds. Now most of us are aware of bitter almonds. Bitter almonds are two types of things here. One is what you get from jardalu, that is the apricot. Apricot kernel is something which is very bitter. But this bitter thing is, if you take it in excess, you may die because it contains hydrogen cyanide. Now this hydrogen cyanide is the thing which gives you the bitter taste, or the taste which is typical of bitter almonds. Apple seeds also same story. Cassava, in fact, there is a way of preparing cassava. It has to be stored in water, like say bamboo. Those who eat bamboo shoots and things like that, I think nobody uses it the same day. It has to be stored in water for a very long time, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 days, and then only the ultimate extract removed, the bamboo can be used. So you have this cyanogenic compounds coming in, and you have all those disturbances. But if you take it in excess, probably will die, because the hydrogen cyanide is something which kills the eater. Now polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Now this is a product of smoked things. Like for example, you keep on using, like say in foreign countries, or I don't know whether here also, you may see on the roadside the person does the same frying or same doing, what do you call that, heating in the same vessel, like say, I would say like sizzlers type of thing, sizzlers. Normally the same thing is used continuously. Like even if in a biscuit factory, you see any biscuit, like say gluco biscuit, the back side of it you have some typical wire mesh mark. Now if it is darker and darker, then probably it is also one of those things which can contain polycyclic, because they don't clean the mesh on a daily basis. It is once in 3 months or once in 4 months. There is a drive. Nobody wants to stop the business for cleaning purposes. So that gets into the heated thing. Like say you have smoked fish, again that same thing. You have the grill, and if it is not cleaned properly, then the grill also has the burning of the oil on the grill, and that will get into the system. And that is dangerous because it causes direct cancer. There is no other area where you can think of. So always be careful where this type of such products are being made. It has to be really seen from that angle. So I don't know anybody has done any study as far as biscuits are concerned in India. Now, this is Falodine is very toxic mushrooms, which are not all mushrooms we eat. Some of those will give you very toxic mushroom poisoning and things like that. So you have hypoglycemia, convergence, protein, watery stools, and then necrosis liver leading to hepatic failure. Now somatic is normally in potatoes. Now I don't know how many of you buy potatoes. When you buy potatoes, you have to see that there is not a single green potato in the purchased potato that you buy. Because that green thing contains this solanine solanine group of alkaloids, which are very dangerous for health. In fact, it can, even if it is given to animals, or say cow, you will have abortion. And then solanine poisoning is something which is very difficult, because this potatoes, if it is having a green patch, never eat that thing, because then either you remove that thing, whether a green patch is the thing which is rich in solanine. Nitrates and nitrites. Now these things come from water, but nitrites are a product of the meat industry, because in Japan and all that, nitrate is used as a preservative for meat, and this nitrate is the only thing which is sort of a material which is used for preserving meat. And this meat, if it is taken in the body, it reacts with the amino acids to giving you nitrosamines. Now these nitrosamines are deadly carcinogens. So you may have stomach cancer or tumors. It will affect the entire inside of your body. And then that's the final thing is the death. Now pesticide residues. Now pesticide residues, you will find it in all type of vegetables, all type of food that is available, processed or unprocessed. And there is no escape, because whether you like it or you don't like it, all these things need to be protected from predators like say insects and pests. So you have to use a pesticide or insecticide or a fungicide. For example, apple contains the maximum amount of fungicide on the surface, because that's the thing which normally gets affected on account of fungus. Pesticide residues beyond safe limit. Now again there is a dispute here, what is the meaning of beyond safe limit? So there are things about 167 or 68 pesticides prescribed in FSCCI book. It says that what should be the limit, and most important is how well you manage your pesticides in a farm or in a field, because there is a definite procedure that you are not supposed to be spraying pesticides or insecticides on the crop 15 days before harvesting. So there should be a 15 days gap before harvesting. So you should not be doing it just one day before. Then one day before means it's going to be. But vegetables, one of the typical type of vegetable is, what I have been told, one who used to do this thing, is cauliflower. Cauliflower contains maximum amount of pesticides. Now antibiotics beyond safe limit is something which comes like the meat from antibiotic fed animal. Now here the most important antibiotics thing is, as far as this particular thing is concerned, is milk again. Now every milkmaid or a milkman is a veterinary. They know more than what we know. You know why they use it? Do you have any idea why it is required? It is required because the milking is done by hands. Those places where they do milking, it is done by hands. Now when the milkmaid or the milkman, when he presses the teats, there is an unusual pressure creates a problem for the animal. The animal teat gets hardened, which is called as mastitis. Like hepatitis, hardening of liver, something like that. It's like mastitis means the teat gets hardened, and to harden means in Marathi they call it dagdi. That particular thing. And when you press it, then you get blood and pus coming out of that. For preventing that thing, once it is having mastitis, you have to give the animal antibiotic injection. Now antibiotics, prescribed antibiotics are there, but most of them chloramphenicol is easily available for the farmer. He uses that thing and certain other antibiotics. But the procedure is such that once you administer an antibiotic in an animal, you are not supposed to deliver milk for 3 days to the dairy. But I have been with some of those places maybe for 1.5 years, and I have seen them and interviewed them. So what that fellow said was, आम्ही आमच्या बायकोला सांगतो की तुम्ही डेअरीला द्या पण घरी मुलाला द्यायचं नाही. Like this. So for us, our own consumption, we don't use it, but for the dairy we give, because it goes so that reddish and brownish color milk gets into the stream. So you have such type of thing coming into the milk also. So this is the area where the FSSAI doesn't talk about this. This is something which is a typical area where FSSAI doesn't bother about antibiotics in milk. Now this antibiotic containing milk is fed to small children. Now you have antibiotic resistance developed, and that is a dangerous thing, because you have those antibiotics. If they are there, then I think right from your childhood you are having antibiotics in excess. Most of the milk contains antibiotics. So this is the story of antibiotics, and I am surprised why Government of India doesn't bother about milk as far as milk is concerned, about the antibiotics. Now this is genetically modified food. This is something which is happening for some of those things. Like now, cotton is one of those things, but cotton doesn't really create problem because we don't eat cotton. But see, basically anything genetically done is only to the protein. Oil doesn't get affected. So genetically modified cotton seed oil is safe because there is no protein in oil. But if you take the meal part of it and talk about it for animals, then it can have complications. So this is something which is discussed. So although still a big question mark, genetically modified foods introduced almost a decade ago are sprouting up millions of acres, sprouting up on millions of acres around the world of farmland. In fact, most of the soybean, corn, canola crops in US and abroad are being produced genetically modified seeds. Now these are the seeds which are called as terminator seeds, manufactured by some of the largest companies in the world. They own the Monsanto, yeah. So they control that thing, and the seeds are to be bought from them only, even for the next crop. So it means there is no escape. Otherwise, what used to happen was the farmer normally produces, keeps the seeds, sells some portion, and keeps with him some portion for the next harvesting or say sowing season. But they don't allow you to do that because the terminator seed doesn't do anything even if you have a seed with you. So it has to be the type of seed that you have to buy from them. Now in fact, now today you have, even the rice is now becoming genetically modified. Now, Chinese are opposing that, Malaysians are opposing that, we are also opposing. But I don't know, everybody wants to do it because the production will be more and so on and so forth. Certain risks according to experts include introducing allergens, toxins to food, accidental contamination, antibiotic resistance, and changing the nutrient content of crops. Now in fact, this is something not connected directly with genetically modified, But when Norman Borlaug did the wheat revolution, he developed a strain of wheat which production increased. That is called a hexaploid wheat, which gives you more production. But today you have cases in Punjab and UP and other areas that you have developed a problem of gluten tolerance, gluten sensitivity. And the gluten sensitivity is something which gives a bloating feeling, and actually it is a disturbing phenomenon because it's going to have other complications. So this is something which is there because of the different type of technique used. Now we have processing contaminants is something which is on the number 9. Processing contaminants occur during processing of food via heating, cooking and fermentation. Chemical reactions occur between natural and or added constituents when heat interacts with ingredients in the compounds in the foods. Metal chips from processing equipment, for example, factors that can contaminate food as well as carcinogenic elements like nitrosamines, mutagenic, polycyclic, aromatic hydrocarbons, all of which are harmful to health. Now this PAH, when I said polycyclic, this is actually the product of contamination during processing. The processing of biscuits have to be baked, so they have to go through an oven at a temperature of maybe 180 or 190 for a few minutes. Now during that particular period, you have the caramelization taking place, because of the sugar present in the biscuit. Now that holds on to the screen, which is a conveyor belt, which is actually a jelly type conveyor belt, which does that thing. So you have large deposits, and that some gets transferred into the biscuit. So these are all dangerous things. Now we talked about, now this is a picture where we talk about bovine growth hormone, which is given to animals for better animals and better milk product yield coming out. Now here again, various companies like Yoplait, Danone have gone BGH free. They no longer use the BGH containing things, and still continue to use genetically modified. But many others still continue to use genetically modified bovine growth hormone in their products. But the bovine growth hormone was produced by Monsanto, and is a genetically engineered synthetic hormone that was later rejected by Monsanto after considerable pressure from other dairies and companies like Starbucks and Kroger. Bovine growth hormone is banned in several countries like Australia, Canada, the UAE and Japan. But some companies like Dreyer's, Nestle, Häagen-Dazs and Dreyer's still continue to use milk product from dairies using BGH hormone. American school children drink nearly 430 million gallons of milk a year, and unfortunately there is a significant amount of this and the other artificial growth hormones in the milk that they drink. In fact, I don't know whether somebody is using it here, but as there is a news that everybody is trying to use it because this is a beneficial thing as far as yield is concerned and the type of cow is concerned, because you have the foreign cows coming into India, Jersey cows or Holstein cows or something like that. So I think probably it is under the investigation. Let us see what comes out. This is something, basically a military type of this thing. Military sites are breeding ground for toxic substances filtering into a soil, water supply every day. Contamination at these military bases in USA alone is estimated at 50 million acres. These are areas that are used for bombing and training. However, military industrial contamination is a worldwide problem. Small arms firing ranges essential to military training but release bullets that are pulverized on impact into this thing. Now, bullet top is made of lead. And that lead gets pulverized and you have lead coming into the thing. Like for example, if you go to Thana range near Pokhran road, this type of thing, every morning you will find people looking out for this metal and collecting it and selling it. So some portion goes into the soil, and nearby hotels and all that, they get water from bore wells. So you probably get there also something on those lines. Lead, antimony, copper and zinc are the primary chemicals composed of bullets. Lead is the primary soil contaminant and concern these ranges. Other contaminants on military bases include TC and perchlorate. TC is trichloroethylene, which is used for degreasing, which goes into the soil, and perchlorate is actually a material of bomb making material, and it is also used in fireworks. Like for example in Sivkasi, probably this could be one of those problems if this particular, because the largest area manufacturing fireworks, and the very typical climate there. Most of the time it is about 20% relative humidity throughout the year. So you have this particular business continuously on the run, and because of perchlorate and other chemicals used in fireworks, probably that area also gets contaminated. Trichloroethylene is a colorless liquid mainly used as a degreaser for metal parts. It is also used in paints, lubricants, varnishes, and recently used to clean sensitive computer circuit boards for military equipment. This chemical has all kinds of toxicological implications for humans, from cancer to death. Antimony, similar to arsenic and others like tin, lead, bisphenol A are chemicals used in making plastic and epoxy resins. They are a large concern to the public's health and safety. Now, antimony comes from factories where they make polyester. Like in Patalganga, antimony trioxide is used as a catalyst for making polyester resin, or say polyester what we use for shirts. Now, this antimony comes in, and another funny thing which I came to know was that they also have a byproduct coming along with the catalyst. When they remove this polyester, you have some other chemicals formed, which one of them is benzoic acid. And this benzoic acid along with arsenic is sold in the market. Now this is bought by people who make benzoic acid to convert it to sodium benzoate, which is a preservative. Most of the beverages contain preservative to the extent of 0.1% in Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Without sodium benzoate you cannot sell, because the whole product will get spoiled. So this particular, there is a company in Bhavnagar which makes benzoic acid. I had a dialogue with him about 12 years ago, and he described this to me. That is why I know about it. Otherwise there is no chance that I should know anything in this area. But this sodium benzoic acid is also used as a plasticizer raw material in different industries. I'll say you have benzyl benzoate, you have butyl benzoate, those benzoates are used. But sodium benzoate you cannot use this material, but I don't know, people use it because nobody bothers, nobody checks. So this is possibility that you might end up antimony coming into your benzoate. The FDA, that is US FDA, stated that many of these substances are toxic to fetuses, infants and young children, yet are not still banned. The BPA is something which is also there, the polycarbonate bottle. The BPA is bisphenol A, which is a component of polycarbonate bottles used for feeding bottles. Now this feeding bottle, why you prefer polycarbonate? Because you can sterilize the bottle by putting into water, boiling it for maybe 15-20 minutes, and the bottle gets sterilized, because the child has to be given water or whatever those particular things are there to give bottle, because feeding bottles are really convenient to handle, and this particular feeding bottle is likely to leach out bisphenol A, and this bisphenol A also creates other health problems. Not only that, bisphenol is also used in making epoxy resins, which are used as inner liner for the can. That is, the can is coated, because otherwise in canning industry, the can is coated with epoxy resin. Now this epoxy resin allows the material not to come in contact with the metal part, thereby remaining safe. But some small quantity might leach out, because there are new techniques available to control the exact BPA content in the thing. But still, the type of food that it contains, there is a chance that BPA may come. It's only on the cautionary note.